Coming up on the Ball Diamond podcast, we circle the bases to catch you up on everything that happened around Major League Baseball in the week that was. We discuss Joe Musgrove's no-no, and we talk about the controversy that happened in Atlanta. We will wrap up the show giving you our series of the week. All that and more coming up right here on the Ball Diamond podcast. Welcome into this edition of the Ball Diamond podcast. Glad to be here with you today. What a weird, funky-dunky week in Major League Baseball. This is the first full week of the baseball season, and we've already seen so much. We've seen blowouts, we've seen walk-offs, we've seen controversy, no-hitters, series sweeps. We've seen the Mets not give Jacob deGrom any run support, but that's not really anything new. We've seen a lot this past week in Major League Baseball. We'll get you caught up with our new segment, Circling the Bases. We'll then talk about the no-hitter that happened in Texas, and we'll get into some of that controversy that happened in Atlanta coming up a little bit later on. But first, I'd like to remind you that you can stay connected to this podcast through our social media pages, Facebook, Ball Diamond Podcast, both Instagram and Twitter at Ball Diamond Pod. And while you're on YouTube, why don't you head on over to the J-Man Sports YouTube channel, hit that little subscribe button. You can get notified on any new content that's uploaded for this podcast, The J-Man Show, and also any new content on the official J-Man Sports YouTube channel. It's all one click away. So go over and click that subscribe button. It is now time for our new segment, and it's going to be called Circling the Bases. We mentioned this last week that to begin every single episode during the baseball season, we are going to be doing a wrap-up of the week that was. So, without further ado, here is Circling the Bases. Circle the Bases on the Ball Diamond Podcast. Let's head over to first base, get you caught up on some of the scores from the week that was. We'll start with our series of the week that happened earlier on last week between the Phillies and the Mets in Philadelphia. It was the Phillies taking 2 of 3 from New York, including Game 1 against Jacob deGrom, 1-0, and there's nothing new there as the Mets continue to not score runs for one of the game's best pitchers. Now let's head over to the weekend. The Bronx Bombers avoided a 3-game sweep from the Rays in Tampa with an 8-4 win in extra innings on Sunday. The same could not be said for the Detroit Tigers as the Indians continued their dominance over Detroit, especially in Cleveland, with a 3-game sweep at home. Shifting to the National League, the Washington Nationals' struggles continue to start the season. After losing 3-0 to the Dodgers on Sunday, the Dodgers completed a 3-game sweep of Washington to drop their record to 1-5 to start the season, while the Dodgers have improved their record to 8-2. Finally, Sunday Night Baseball in Atlanta between the Phillies and the Braves. It was the Phillies avoiding the sweep with a controversial 7-6 win over the Braves. To second base now, I'll give you some news and notes from around the league. Rougned Odor was traded earlier in the week from the Rangers to the New York Yankees for a player to be named later, while Orlando Arcia was also traded from the Milwaukee Brewers to the Atlanta Braves for 2 minor league pitchers. Now, some injuries happened this week. Tigers' former 2-time MVP and Triple Crown Award winner Miguel Cabrera was placed on the 10-day IL list with a left bicep strain. Now, let's shift to the National League West, where 2 impact players were placed on the 10-day IL list. Cody Bellinger for the Los Angeles Dodgers and Fernando Tatis Jr. for the San Diego Padres. Cody Bellinger was placed on the 10-day IL list for a calf injury, whereas Fernando Tatis Jr. was placed on the 10-day IL list for a shoulder injury. One unfortunate injury that happened this past week was Cardinals outfielder Dexter Fowler. He tore his ACL and will unfortunately miss the rest of the 2021 Major League Baseball season. Rounding third, each and every Monday, Major League Baseball announces Players of the Week. In last week's winners, because they announced them in the afternoon for some odd reason. Last week's winners in both the National League and the American, we'll start in the National League, were Padres first baseman Eric Hosmer. In the American League, it was Chicago White Sox rookie Yerman Mercedes. And we'll bring you home with this. Padres beat the Rangers on Friday 3-0 behind a very strong pitching performance from Joe Musgrove. Musgrove, a native from San Diego, completed the first no-hitter in Padres history. He went 9 innings, giving up no hits, no walks, 10 strikeouts. The only blemish on his scorecard was a hit batsman. And that was circling the bases. Would like to remind you that you can stay connected to this podcast through our social media pages. Facebook, Ball Diamond Podcast, both Instagram and Twitter, at Ball Diamond Pod. Let's talk about that Joe Musgrove no-hitter. I think that was pretty impressive. Joe Musgrove, he came up with the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's bounced around a little bit. He was kind of used as a long reliever in some instances. He's dealt with some injuries. He signed with the Padres this offseason. Everyone was so excited, and I didn't understand why. And again, I knew this guy from Pittsburgh and from all over, and he was a guy that got hurt, was in the bullpen. I don't know why people were all excited for him. And then I realized on Friday night why, because he's got electric stuff. He's thrust into a position where he has to be the third starter in that rotation with Clevenger being down. And look, but like I said, the guy has nasty stuff. He's got a great fastball. He's got some great secondary pitches, great movement on his pitches. And look, he was rewarded. He's from San Diego. He grew up a San Diego Padres fan. And, I mean, it's just, Hollywood almost could not have written a better script. The only way that it would have been better was if it would have been a perfect game and if it would have been in San Diego. It was in Texas, as the Padres and the Rangers were playing a 3-game series in Texas. But seriously, 9 innings, no hits, no walks, 112 pitches thrown, 10 strikeouts. And the only blemish was hitting a batter. That was it. And this is something that's actually very good, because last week I talked about what I didn't like early on, the whole trend that was going on in Major League Baseball with pitchers not going deeper into games. And look, it's a scary trend in baseball, and I think it's going to happen all throughout the year. And, you know, if you were watching this game, you were kind of getting a little bit worried as you know, we started getting later and later into the game as to whether or not the Padres are actually going to keep him in the game, or we're going to allow him to actually complete this no-hitter. And I'm glad that they did. I'm glad that he was able to complete this, because it's a milestone in his career. Obviously, it's his first career no-hitter. It's the Padres' first ever no-hitter in their history from a guy who grew up in San Diego and who also grew up a Padres fan. You can't make that stuff up. You just can't. It's fantastic. Again, 112 pitches is not bad by any means. I remember watching Justin Verlander pitch 120 a game. 112 is nothing. And again, the fact that he only had one blemish, and that was a hit by pitch. I mean, I remember watching, was it not Edwin Jackson in Tampa Bay when he pitched like 140 pitches and had like 7 walks, but got that no-hitter? Like, to me, that's not a no-hitter. That's not as impressive. What's impressive about like no-hitters or about perfect games is when, obviously perfect games you don't allow any base runners at all. But what's impressive about a no-hitter is when you only allow out 1 walk or 1 base runner. Because that's incredibly hard to do. Like, incredibly hard to do. And that's why it makes his performance just that much better. And look, proves me completely wrong, because I thought, again, that Joe Musgrove was not really much of anything coming to San Diego. I knew of him. I knew that he had struggled in the past. I knew he struggled with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he was in and out of the bullpen, and he was off and on the injured list. Signs with San Diego, and it's just, like I said, it's a fantastic story. And look, he has to be huge for the Padres, because in today's baseball, you need 3 starters, especially in a postseason run. You need 3 starters. And they already have Blake Snell. They already have Yu Darvish. If they can get Joe Musgrove to perform. And if they can maybe sometime get Mike Clevenger back this year, who knows? That could be a major addition for them. They then have 4 guys to go in that division against the Dodgers, who just look incredibly good since the opening series against the Rockies last week when they lost 2 games against Colorado. They've won every single game since. They beat the A's, and now they swept the Washington Nationals as well. So, again, great performance from Joe Musgrove. And if you don't know him, you should. It's a great story, and just tremendous performance all around from both him and the organization, allowing him to complete this no-hitter. All right, after the break, we will talk about a little bit of the controversy that happened in Atlanta, and we'll get to our series of the week. Stay tuned. Hello, it's the J-Man again, here to talk about my new show, The J-Man Show, a part of the new podcast series from J-Man Sports. It's out with the old and in with the new. The J-Man Show takes over for the old podcast, but will add its own flavor. Join me each and every week as we discuss and have fun with sports news. You can stream the J-Man Show exclusively on the new J-Man Sports YouTube channel. The J-Man Show, anything sports. Alrighty, welcome back. So yeah, some controversy happened last night, Sunday Night Baseball, ESPN, between the Phillies and the Braves. Now, the Braves won the first 2 games of a 3-game weekend series against the Phillies. So the Phillies were trying to avoid the sweep. And the game was tied 6-6. It was a very exciting game. Overall, there were a lot of home runs that were hit, and it was a very exciting offensive game. The game was tied 6-6 in the top of the 9th inning. The Phillies had a runner at third base. His name was Alec Boehm, who is their third baseman. And Didi Gregorius was up at the plate. Sean Newcomb was on the mound, and so Newcomb throws the pitch. Didi Gregorius hits a lazy fly ball to left field. It's pretty shallow. Marcell Ozuna, who's playing left field for the Braves, comes in and makes the catch. Alec Boehm decides he's going to tag, which is completely risky in my opinion, but anyways. Because Alec Boehm is not necessarily the fleetest, does not have the fleetest of feet, in my opinion. And so anyways, he tags at third base, and Ozuna is going to obviously throw it home. And Ozuna's throw beats Alec Boehm by like a country mile. And it's a good throw into Travis d'Arnaud, the catcher for the Atlanta Braves. And so there's a play at the plate that happens, and Alec Boehm goes to slide on the kind of the inside part of home plate. And he slides in as d'Arnaud comes over and tags him, and he's called safe. Home plate umpire calls him safe, who's standing right over the plate. Now, even live, if you go and watch the replay live, you can even see that Alec Boehm does not touch the plate before Travis d'Arnaud touches him. And so, and like I said, I don't understand. The umpire has a great view of it. He's standing right over the plate. But anyways, they go to instant replay, and instant replay confirms the call that the guy is that Alec Boehm is safe. That makes it 7-6 Philadelphia, top of the 9th inning. And well, the Braves end up losing. They end up going. They end up not scoring anything in the bottom of the 9th inning, and they end up losing the game 7-6. And if you're an Atlanta Braves fan, you're sitting there going, "Well, what in the honest bleep happened? Like, the guy is not safe by any means. It's not even close." And this is exactly what instant replay in all these sports leagues, this is exactly what instant replay is supposed to help. Like, I completely understand, live things happen all, super fast. I mean, again, the umpire was standing right over home plate, so I don't understand how he didn't see it, but again, it happens fast, bang, bang, play, I get it, 100%. But then they go to replay, they should see he never touched the plate with his foot, with his hand, nothing. Never touched home plate until Travis d'Arnaud hit him and tagged him with the ball. Then he ends up crossing the plate and touching home plate. But he doesn't actually touch the plate at all before Travis d'Arnaud tags him. He should have been out. That should have been a double play. They should have still been playing the game. So that's frustrating to me, because this is why instant replay is in place. This is why we have this. This is why baseball instituted this, was to get these calls correct. And instead, no. Nope. Somehow New York doesn't see that. There was another play in the Tigers-Indians series on Saturday, as the Indians were pounding the Tigers. Luplo, their center fielder, hit a fly ball. And they ended up to the wall, and it ended up going over, I believe it ended up going over the wall and coming back into play. And they ruled it a double. It should have been a home run. And they reviewed it, and again, they deemed it a double. It was a home run. Not by much, but it was a home run. Again, this is what replay is supposed to take care of. But these people can't get it right. Whether it's the human element in the game, I have no idea. But I mean, the Luplo one, I understand it not being necessarily clear and concise. I mean, I thought it was a home run, but not being clear and concise. This one on Sunday night at the plate, that was as clear as what you can get. Alec Bohm never touched the plate at all before he was tagged by Travis d'Arnaud. He touched it after he was tagged by Travis d'Arnaud, but not before. Like, just ridiculous. Like, what are they watching? What are they seeing? And you see it all the time in the NFL, the same thing, right? Where all of a sudden they'll review a play. It's pretty obvious. Even the commentators will say, yep, this is how it should go. And all of a sudden they come out and they either confirm it or they overturn the call, and you're just sitting there going, well, what are they watching? It's pretty clear. It's pretty concise. This is what replay is supposed to do. Now, I understand replay isn't necessarily going to fix everything, but plays like this, it should. Like, it just should. Like, there was another play, and I go back to the Tigers and Indians series because I watched it yesterday. I watched the game yesterday, and on Sunday I watched the Tigers lose 5-2, and Nomar Mazara just throw the ball around, seemed like in the 8th inning. But anyways, there was a close play early on in that game. It was between Jose Ramirez and Jose Urena. So Jose Ramirez hits basically like a swinging bunt. Urena has to come off the mound to the third base side, barehand it, and throw it to first. And I mean, live, it looked like Jose Ramirez was safe. The umpire called him out. They showed the replay, and yeah, he was out. He was out by like a hair. How in the hell can the umpire, who is standing like 2-3 feet back from first base, can tell that Jose Ramirez was out on a bang-bang play, but the umpire standing on top of home plate for a bang-bang play where he has a clear view, and I mean, he's not even standing a foot away from home plate, can't see that Alec Bohm doesn't touch the plate. Now again, if you know me, you know I'm not going to sit here and make the excuse that the Atlanta Braves lost on that play, because again, they had an opportunity in the 9th inning to win the game and didn't win it. So I'm not saying that they totally lost on that play, but it was a determining factor into the outcome of the game. And again, if I were a Braves fan, I'd be pretty upset. Even if I was a Phillies fan, what would you say if you're a Philadelphia Phillies fan? Like, you know that he didn't score. You 100% know he didn't score. And if you do think that he scored, you're wearing your Phillies goggles, because there's no way he scored on that play. So, like, what do you do? Like, you gotta just sit there and go, yay, we won, but that's a really bad call. Yay. Like, I remember one time I was playing volleyball in high school, and we were playing against a school that we didn't really play all that much against, but we were playing against them. They were better than what we were. And we were going back and forth. I think we may have won the first set, they won the second set, and so it was kind of this whole like winner take all for the third set. And we ended up winning on a very bad call. And I can't remember exactly what happened. I can't remember if it was a serving violation or if it was a net violation. I can't remember. And what I do remember from that is I was excited that we won, and I remember I walked around to our coach and I said, "Yeah, that's how you win." And my coach was very disgusted with the referee and looked at me and said, "No, you don't win that way. That's a bad call. It's great that we won, but you don't like to win that way." And that's kind of what I feel like if you're a Philadelphia Philly right now. You're kind of like, yay, we won. But looking back at the replay, you're like, yay, we won. And if you're a fan, or if you're a Philly, or if you're in the front office for the Phillies, that's what you'd be like. But I don't know. It frustrates me a little bit that we have the replay for this purpose and they can't get it right. It frustrates me the fact that the umpire is standing on top of home plate and still doesn't do anything. He still doesn't make the right call. You have to go to replay and it doesn't make the right call. But yet in the Tigers and Indians game on Sunday, the first base umpire can make a split decision call like that, and it was way more of a bang-bang play. The first base umpire was 2 to 3 feet off of the base and made the right call. And even when they looked at it, it was the right call. I don't know. I just guess it's the old saying that the umpire needs glasses. Clearly, that home plate umpire last night needed some glasses. All right, it is now time for the segment we introduced last week. And it's going to be a fun little exciting segment that we do at the end of every program. And it is called Series of the Week.
Series of the Week.
So the series that I am most looking forward to this week in watching actually starts tonight. And it is the Houston Astros at home taking on the Detroit Tigers. Now, it's not at all because the series is going to be all that exciting. I think to watch, the Tigers are going to get walloped in this series, but it's A.J. Hinch's return to Houston. As we all remember that A.J. Hinch was the manager of the 2017 World Champion Astros. And he returns tonight to the city of Houston, where he has not been since he was let go at the end or at the beginning of the 2020 Major League Baseball season. I'm interested to see how the fans react, and I'm interested to see how the players react. Because, look, A.J. Hinch really had nothing to do with what happened. He just didn't do enough to stop it. The report, I've said it multiple times, the report itself that came out from Major League Baseball said that it was more of a players-driven event. Like Alex Cora, the manager of the Red Sox, had more to do with it than what A.J. Hinch had. But A.J. Hinch took the fall for his players. He didn't come out and blame his players. He took the fall for his players. So I'm interested to see how the players react to A.J. Hinch returning to Houston. But I'm also interested to see how the fans react, because the fans love the Houston Astros, and there are Astros fans that will defend the Astros to all get it that they were the champions in 2017, and you can't take that away from them. So are they going to boo A.J. Hinch? Are they going to cheer A.J. Hinch? Is it going to be a mixture of boos and cheers for A.J. Hinch? I would imagine that they would actually cheer A.J. Hinch, because if they're going to celebrate these players and they're going to defend these players, well, they might as well defend the manager who had literally nothing to do with what was going on. He just didn't do enough to stop it. So this is going to be interesting. It's also going to be interesting when A.J. Hinch goes to New York for the first time to face the Yankees, because the Astros and the Yankees fan bases really do not like each other, and I have a feeling he's going to get booed mightily when he gets to New York. But like I said, I don't know how the fans are going to react. I don't know how the players are going to react. This has nothing really to do with the game of baseball itself. It's A.J. Hinch's return, and I'm interested to see kind of how everybody reacts. It's Casey Mize and Zach Greinke tonight at 8:10 p.m. Eastern Time. First pitch if you want to go watch that game. I want to thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting the podcast. And don't worry, you definitely will be hearing from me soon. Thanks.